Alright folks, what is up? This is One Big Bug and I'm coming at you with Euro Truck Simulator 2. I'm off to a wonderful start apparently. A couple things before we get started with our continuation of Picking Your First Truck series. As you can see, my Super Save profile has changed a little bit. I don't know what happened. Both of my profiles got completely erased. I don't know what I did. It had to have been something I'd have done because my computer's just not going to erase it on its own. I had to erase them by accident while working on cleaning up some of my drive space for my C drive. So my profiles are gone. We weren't that far into our career anyways, and the super save doesn't matter, so it really doesn't hurt. Number two, and this one's kind of important, is my video card has finally arrived. Yes. So I am running SLI now, and as far as I know, most games, including Euro Truck, supports SLI. So I should be able to record at a higher graphical quality. Now right now I have everything, and I mean everything, set to high. And we're going to see, I took it around for a test, and I got decent frame rates, especially considering I only render at 30. As long as the frame rates remain over 30, we're good. So with that being said, the thing I'm concerned about the most is just keeping an eye on the frame rates for now, and then I'll adjust the quality as I need to. I can get rid of some grass density, I can take out the anti-aliasing, things like that, and I can ease the load. But for now, we're going to set it with everything high, and like I said, I drove around with everything on high, and it seemed to work okay. So this is where we're going to start. So big positive there that everything's turned up. My keyboard is still according to the post office in California, but what are you going to do? At least the graphics card here, and that was the most important component for this. So, let us get started. Now, yes, today we will be looking at the Scania trucks, not the Scania we have here currently. We're going to visit the selected dealer. Now, there are two Scanias that you can buy as a new driver. This one, the Scania R Normal, and the Scania Streamline Normal. Back up, please. Okay. Now, switching between the two, honestly, there's like no freaking difference. I think the difference is more in the interior and body style, but we'll get more into that when we go into the Streamline. The Scania R is the most popular truck in the game, period. Although that could change with the release of the Mercedes. The DAF Euro 6 has definitely pulled some people from various truck, fandom, myself included, away from the Scania. And the new Mercedes is definitely a beast of a truck, especially in starting and in high end, apparently. So the Scania may start losing some of its popularity, although SCS has promised that more tuning options and more tweaks will be coming for the older trucks. So it's going to be interesting to see where things end up. But as for now, if you look at the mods, if you look at the amount of mods and amount of skins at various sites, Scania is definitely the king when it comes to popularity. But does that mean it's the best starting truck? Well, it's not off to the greatest start, especially compared to some of the newer stuff. Obviously, left-hand drive, normal 360 horsepower, 1,850 newton meters at 1,000 to 1,300 RPM. Now, that's even weaker than, pretty much most of the other trucks, although it's still pretty strong. It's weaker than the Euro. I said most of the other trucks. I should actually just say the newer trucks. It is definitely weaker than the Euro 6, and it's weaker than the new Mercedes. But I think it stands above the others. I'm not 100% sure because, well, I don't keep the stats in my head very well. But still, 1,850 is pretty respectable, and it's 1,000 to 1,300 RPM, although you'll go all the way to 1,500 before pulling. That's pretty decent to get that much in that kind of lower range, 200 RPM less. So that's not too bad. It's got an OptiCruise GRSO 925 gearbox with a 1,500 liter fuel tank capacity. 108,860. It's a bit on the expensive side for a starter truck. You won't be able to get it with just the €100 loan. You'll actually need the 500 or 400, whatever it is in the game. But either which way, this is the truck we need to look over. Right, I got rid of the in-game cinematics finally. Look at how pretty that looks, yeah? Does that look pretty? I hope it looks pretty because I don't render at 100%. If I did, I'd be uploading huge files. I don't even know if I could render at 100% because I'm going to go over this real quick, and maybe one of you know. Camtasia, when it writes the video, it puts a copy of the video into your local temp file, and that copy is pretty big. And I don't have a lot of disk space on my C drive. And even though I've actually, redirected where the files are supposed to be, it's still, for whatever reason, even though my local says it's in my in the drive I redirected to, it still affects my C drive. I only get about 5 gigs on my C drive, about 5.5, because it's only a small solid state drive that I use for my operating system. And I don't know how it's taken up so much room anyways. I used to have 19, 20 gigs open on it, and now for some reason I'm down to 5, and I don't know what's taken up all the room. But be that as it may, I may actually be looking into getting a new solid state drive. I just need to get myself a clean copy of Windows or something. But whatever, that's reminiscing about other things. So, so whenever I finish rendering, I have to go into my temp folders and delete that copy because it takes up so much room. So I don't know how to get Scania how to get Camtasia to stop putting that copy there and either put it somewhere else or to not create it at all. I've gone and looked, but either way, I'll try more later, but that's beside the point. We're here about the truck, right? Right. So let's get to it. Again, the Scania R is the most popular truck in the game still, as things stand at this moment, okay? And taking a look around the cab here, let's get rid of that, please, thank you. It's completely flat gray. It's not the best overall looking, but of course it's just basics, it's supposed to be basics. The mirrors are really good. They're nice, big mirrors. You get a good sight view, especially out of the fisheye. The fisheye or bubble mirror is really good, really big, sizable. The flat mirror is a little small in terms of height, but still gives off a pretty decent view. It's got a nice width to it. However, the setup really tends to interfere with your view between the pillar and the mirrors. So it's a much larger blind spot than some trucks, and the pillar is actually pretty big as well. So that's a bit of an issue. The dashboard is, when not lit up, is clean and easy to read. The numbers are fairly simple. The the dials and everything, pretty simple to read here. So I know I need a little bit more volume. As always, I hope my volume's up high enough and not too high, because I had to reset all of my settings again. So it's always fun. It's got a nice startup sound. It's got a nice outside sound. Not too bad, huh? Not too bad. Not too bad for a bass sound. And the dashboard is really, really, really easy to read. It's very clear how many kilometers, how much fuel you have. I'm in neutral, how far I've traveled. I always forget which way I put it. You see here, this is the use, very easy to read. This is my cruise control, very easy to read. Temperatures, very easy to read. I believe this is air pressure, easy to read. So all of it's really, really simple to read. However, there is no dashboard GPS for you to use on this base truck, so then you will have to use the floating GPS in order to see your way around. Make sure you're following everything properly. The front mirror is set inward a little bit. It's not too big, not too far down. It's got a nice view, and it's easy to see. As you can see here, looking forward, you can actually still see it out of the corner over there. So that's actually really useful for people who like to use the front mirrors. You still get a good view of it right there without really having to turn your head. So if you don't have a VR headset, or you don't have the IR tracking set up, that actually works really, really well. So that's definitely something, and it's positive. With all this being said, let's find something to tow. "21 tons of lumber," but that's too short. 18 tons, 350, 355, 15 tons. That's kind of light, though. This one's not too bad. 448. It's a little bit long, but it's definitely going to push the bar here at 28 tons. So, I don't know. 28 tons. That's more than the vanilla. And that's far more than any of the other trucks have pulled. I don't think that's totally fair. I really like the look of this cart, but this isn't something based on looks. It's only 15 tons, so it would be the lightest by far. So I think our best bet, despite the fact of being a rush delivery, is the wood veneer, 18 tons, so it kind of sits in the middle of everything that we've towed so far. Not too much heavier than the lightest, not too much lighter than the heaviest that we've towed, and it's got a good distance at 352. Now, as all the older trucks have with the base transmission, and even with the upgraded transmission, you are only going to have one reverse gear. You're not going to have multiple. The only trucks to have reverse gear in the game are the Euro 6, or multiple reverse gears in the game is the Euro 6 and the new Mercedes. However, I do feel that will change with the new tweaks that are coming out, planned for what will probably be 1.19. Where they said they're going to add all new a little hitch up there. I am running the 64-bit version today. I did remember that. Oh, I don't have my mirror. That does help keep me from running into cars on my right-hand side. So, my frame rate with what's here has already dropped a little too much. So, this will most likely mean I've got to come down on a few things. Yeah. When I first tested the frame rate, it was more towards the evening. There wasn't a lot of cars, there wasn't a lot of sun, there wasn't a lot of reflection. So, in recording, it is struggling a little bit, so I'm going to have to adjust my graphics quality at least a little bit. And I already know a couple things I'm going to pull out. And I will probably do that before we get started with the trailer, so I ask your patience. Oops, a little bit. Forgot I actually have to get the trailer first. Whatever. Oh. Right. Okay. I forgot to set that key. Shift to neutral, no. Cruise control. No. Must be the activate, right? So let's set that. And while I'm here, I'm going to stop the recording and make some adjustments to the graphics. So I ask that you bear your patience with this one. I shall return uno momento. And we are back. Again, I apologize. Hopefully everything is fixed. So basically what I changed is I turned the anti-aliasing off I turned down the vegetation amount, and I lowered the shadow quality a little bit. So the vegetation density is now medium. The anti-aliasing is off because you have two options, on or off. And the shadow quality has gone from high to medium. So this is going to be a little tricky to get out of here. But not too tricky. There we go. But everything else is definitely set upwards. That was close. And it does look like it's made an immaculate difference in terms of my quality. And the game looks much more beautiful to drive. I actually have grass rather than just flat green areas. There's plenty of cars going by. My frame rate's holding strong. I'm a happy camper. Except that the traffic won't freaking move. I am going to attempt to pull out here and hope that I don't get rear-ended by that car. Okay, my very first observation. This is an 18-ton trailer. I typically start in third gear with any trailer that I pull unless it's really heavy and I'm using a lower-end truck. Already, the Scania had difficulty getting rolling in third gear with an 18-ton trailer. So, I almost feel like it's unfair that the two Scanias and the Volvo, yeah, that's struggling a little bit to get off the line there. I feel it's a little unfair that the two Scanias and the two Volvos get tested with the better graphics than the other trucks did. But, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really mind losing my other profile because number one, it was early, and number two, that gives me a chance to get the new Mercedes. When we go back to doing our career mode, I'm gonna be driving the new Mercedes. Just, what's with these sudden stops, dude? Oh, boy. Oh, yeah, the Scania bass horn, which I forgot. Not too bad. It really sounds a bit fake in the game, that's for sure. A series that I may start up doing is something that you typically see, I can't say typically see. I say that because I typically see it. There's a guy that I follow because I'm back to playing League of Legends periodically, and the guy, well, I'll get to that in a minute. The guy's name is Ponce, and he does a lot of the test realm stuff, the test server, and he brings you all the stuff that's coming up, new heroes, champions, abilities, skins, new changes to maps, items, and whatnot. What I may do, I'm not going to bring you like in advance what's coming, but when the patch notes does come out, I'll go over the patch notes, and I may start talking about, the patches and the changes that will be coming to the game itself in advance. I won't like load up a beta and do it, but I will like bring up the patch notes on another monitor and talk about them. So that's something I'm considering anyways. It's a little late in the game, but what are you going to do? It'll definitely help if I start doing that on the American Truck Simulator when that game comes out. Whenever that game comes out. Oh my. Well, I'm in 9th. So it wasn't too bad. It doesn't do too bad on a hill climb, towing an average trailer. Ah, my knee itches like the worst way possible. Ah, thank you. The Scania definitely has a unique sound in the game. You know, they're trying to get all the trucks' sounds, especially as they're releasing new trucks. They're trying to get the original sounds for the trucks, the actual sounds in the game, rather than use generic. I think the only truck now that may use generic sounds are trucks. I'm pretty sure the MAN uses a generic sound. And I believe the Renaults may be a generic sound, but I'm not sure. But I know the Iveco, the Mercedes, the Scanias, the Volvos, they all have in-game sound, you know, actual sounds from the trucks. And the Scania does sound really nice. Uh, 11th gear, 18 tons, and we are actually losing speed a little bit on a minor incline. That's not well. Especially considering we're highway running. You know, we're not doing much else. I'd be interested to turn everything in this game that can be turned up to ultra, turn the anti-aliasing back on, and then just play the game without recording for a little while and see how well the frames do. Even though there are some loading hitches, I'm seeing them here and there, I'm noticing less. And then that's not just a 64-bit version. I think that has to do with running two cards. I gotta say, and I know this is about the truck, but there's not a lot I can say right now about the Scania. Running two cards has made a huge difference, obviously. I mean, I'm recording on settings. I'm not going to get around you in time, am I? I really want to, and if I pushed it, I probably could. Dude, I need to check you out. Thank you. Sorry. But, you know, here I am running this on a graphical quality that I couldn't even hope to run it on. When recording with a single card, and it's running smoother. I'm not going to say perfect, but definitely smoother than when I was running it on a single card at half and maybe even less than half of the quality that we have now. So the graphic card purchase was definitely worth it, especially for some games that have come out that if I ever get the chance to play, I'll be able to handle them at a much better quality, like, you know, The Witcher 3. I don't know when I'll ever own The Witcher 3. I know I want to own it. I don't know when I ever will own it because, you know, money's tight for me right now. You know, it's just the way things are. It's not a big deal. But when I do get it someday, I'll be able to handle it much better running two 660s rather than a single. So, I want you to keep this in mind as I review this truck, as anyone who watches this who may really like Scania, because the Scania fan base tends to be pretty rabid. I want you to keep in mind I am a Scania fanboy, or I'm going to be honest with you, at least was a Scania fanboy. I still really do love Scania. And it has so many mods and things for it. I mean, in the end, you can turn any truck into what you want, into the best truck in the game easily. But this is, just starting off without mods. A lot of people like to play the game in its vanilla form. You're going to have those people out there that mod in super powerful engines and whatnot. Then you have people who are going to stay true to the truck. That's how games like this run. The only mods I use currently, as I've said, are I'm a little lost here. Oh yeah, Truck Sim Map and Jazzy Cat mods. That's it. And I'm going to be honest with you, I may move away from Truck Sim Map and try Pro mods again now that I have better computing power. One of the problems I had with Pro mods is despite being smaller, it seemed to be a little more intensive in terms of resources. But now I think I may try it again because actually it's a really good mod. It really is, and I'm not one to turn away or try and fanboy. Although Truck Sim Map is so much better. I don't know. I never really was able to give Pro mods a fair shake. Now I'll have a chance, I believe. I don't know if Pro mods is ready yet. This is not the biggest of inclines by far. 10th gear, 18 tons, and we are actually losing speed. That's a little on the rough side if you ask me. So, I don't know, man. When you're done looking at the world through rose-tinted glasses, sometimes things don't always look like what you first thought they would, you know? Now, I expect the truck to lose some speed there, 12th gear, uphill, but as much as it did? I don't know, man. It just doesn't feel right. We're going to need to get up some speed to make it up this hill and stay in gear. And that looks like a long gradual incline right there, which means we may end up downshifting. No, actually it's doing alright. Maybe it's just an optical illusion. It's a little more level than I'm giving it credit for. Oh. Now, I do have to give it credit for this. All the other trucks I stopped at 100 kilometers and locked in the cruise control at 100 kilometers. 100 kilometers per hour, rather. Because the engine was, getting high up in the RPMs, and you were looking at going over 1500, which for fuel consumption is really, really bad. Especially, if you're playing realistic fuel consumption, which I do. Look here, I've got the cruise control locked in, and we're talking, I've got it locked in at 110, and we're at the 1500 mark. So this is an interesting fact about the Scania that I really didn't realize. Compared to the other trucks, it's a little bit faster. You can cruise faster and still maintain a decent fuel consumption, as you can see here. 38.2 on average on the cruise control at 110. And that's really, really good. Now, you may not think that extra 10 kilometers per hour means a lot. And on short runs like this, it doesn't. On runs where you're going to be doing a lot of back road driving or hill climbing, it doesn't. But on runs where you're going long distance over a lot of highway roads, a lot of roads where you'll be able to pass and keep up your speed, like if you're using Truck Sim Map, the road that goes across the top of Africa, and you get a run like I did, where you're going from one end of the top of Africa to the other, it was like 4,400 miles, 4,400 kilometers of all driving. And it was all driving on highway roads, 2-lane roads with plenty of passing opportunity, roads where you could just get up and hold your cruise and keep going. It actually will make a significant difference, especially if you're doing a important or rush delivery run. That extra 10 kilometers an hour will add up over the course of a big run, 2,000-3,000 kilometers or more. So that's definitely something to think about in there. But how well does it make up for other stuff? Yeah, well, you're going to have to wait till the end to find out. But you may already be able to tell by the tone of my voice what I actually think of it. One thing the Scania has always been good with, although it's not as good as the MAN, and not as good as other trucks which haven't been reviewed yet, although pretty close, it's really stable. It's a very, very stable platform. In terms of 4x2 trucks, you're going to have a hard time getting it to unbalance itself with trailers that stay within the vanilla weights, up to 25 tons. You'll be able to cruise corners fairly well, to be honest. You'll just be able to easily bowl around corners, keeping 110, 115. Well, I wouldn't go 115, but 100, 110. Now it does look like we have a sharp corner coming up. I probably will slow down. By the looks of it, maybe, possibly. Nah, I'm just going to throw the truck into it and see what happens. As you can see, took it like a champ. Although I will say that was pushing it. Don't ever let me lie to you about that one. I'm not lying to you. I may have to down the quality a little bit more because getting into towns seems to affect the frame rate a little bit more. But I'm not going to do that now, obviously. We're just about done. So I may down the quality a little bit more. Now right here I'm pulling a huge no-no in case you didn't notice. I'm blocking out that coming out, which all by itself isn't that huge, but I'm also blocking a crosswalk, which is a big no-no. Oh, it's going to one of those really difficult spots, isn't it? Yes, yes, it is. That's alright. It's a standard trailer, so it shouldn't be too bad. Alright, you take a look at this John Deere picture in the front here. Tell me at the end of that crane that doesn't look like some dude in a deep sea diving suit with a huge claw hand on his right hand side. It does, doesn't it? Alright, I'm going to need a wide turn here. Only 4.5 meters wide, 6 meters tall. That's not very big. Up, 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 up. The smart thing to do, honestly, would have been to go around and come back and approach that from the other angle, you know, from the other side. But we did all right. All right. It's not a good back end, but it's a decent start anyways. Well, maybe it'll give it to us. If I can turn it over fast enough. No. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Alright. Alright. That's cool. That's cool. Still, it got us into a good position. We can't complain about that. This is not the easiest place in the world to back into. And I've done a very poor job here. But it's going to give it up anyways. Alright. Yeah. Shh. We know. Oh, okay, whatever. Fine. Alright. So, Scania R360, which is the engine power of the truck. How does it stand up? Well, as I said earlier, the rose-colored glasses, when they come off, things look a lot different than when you're looking at them through those same glasses. And the Scania R it doesn't hold up anymore, you know. The Mercedes and the Euro 6 definitely beat it out in terms of quality of truck. And that's not to be surprised. You're talking a truck that is dated back to 2009 versus trucks that have only just come out recently within the past year or a year or two probably. So, you know, that's obvious. For its age, it actually holds up well, but, you know, there's not much else I can say about it. It's faster, and that will help you in long runs, but by the time you get to longer runs, you'll actually be able to upgrade it into a better truck. Towards the high end, the list does shift, but we're not doing high end. There's not much else I can say about it. It's a little bit faster, but it has problems getting off the grunt line. It's easy to read. The dashboards, the mirrors are good. The sight in the truck is good. It sounds really good. It has a nice sound quality to it. And overall, it's a good truck. But where does it rate? Honestly, right now on the list, it's actually fourth to me. The Mercedes is number 1. The Euro 6 is number 2. The MAN is still number 3. And the Scania comes in at number 4. Then the DAF XF comes in after that. The Renault Premium, the old Mercedes, and finally the Iveco Stralis. So it doesn't hold up really much better than some of the older trucks. And it's a shame. It's a shame. It is Scania. It is, you know, king of the road, basically. Hopefully with new tweaks coming in, new options, and whatnot will give the Scania new life in terms of being able to keep up with the newer trucks. But will it? Only time will tell. It's not a bad truck, not by any stretch of the imagination, but man, is still a better starting truck in overall. And the new DAF and the new Mercedes are just a class amongst themselves. So that's it for the Scania. So Scania fans, please don't tear me apart. Remember, for a very, very long time, and if you go back through a lot of my old videos, I'm a big Scania fan. And I still am to a very big degree, but I can't look at this through those fanboy glasses. I have to look at it as unbiasedly as I can, unlike the very first time I did this type of series, and that the Scania, it just doesn't hold up anymore. And that's kind of a shame. But be that as it may, that's going to be me done for this video, folks. I hope you've enjoyed watching this as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. There will be, hopefully, if I remember, my Facebook and Twitter in the link section below. Otherwise, this is going to be One Big Bugger. I'm going to be signing out, and I will see you next time.